until the last minute.
True.
Okay. And Mr. Oates, we can't see you.
Can't hear you. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
I was on time. I wasn't late.
You weren't late. And I said 10 seconds to go, and Steve jumps in. So we are live. It is 8 o'clock on Wednesday. So time for Wine and Whiskey Wednesdays. Cheers, everyone. We missed you guys last week. No wine and whiskey last week.
Cheers.
Well, not on video.
Not on video. We were at the IPBC conference, and it was the Intuit party. We were talking about trying to do something from there, and there's just it was so loud. There was no way that there was any ability to do anything live.
Tell the truth. We're having too much fun. We were drinking too much. We're having too much great conversation.
There's never such a thing as too much great conversation.
True.
And it was loud. Top of that. Okay, excellent. Well, welcome to those of you on the panel, and we've got a couple people watching as well. I know Brad isn't joining us today. It's his beer and wing night, but I'm sure Brad will watch it later. So hey, Brad.
Hey, Brad.
And yeah, we didn't see him last week either. He wasn't at IPBC.
I didn't think he was there 2 weeks ago either, if I remember right.
Right. Yes, that's right. But we did see Andrea at IPBC last week, and you presented, and I've heard fabulous things about your presentation, which is awesome. So congratulations. There was a whole bunch of buzz on social media about your presentation and what a great job you did.
Thank you.
So excellent. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
So our topic for tonight is we thought that we would flip back to basics and go back a couple of conversations. We've had a lot of conversations about, working virtually and building your team and team morale and team culture. And I thought that, it might be a good exercise to go back to the beginning as to why you would even want a team or why you would not want a team, because there are very definitive feelings on both sides of the fence. So we thought it might be a good conversation for people maybe who are thinking about starting a team, of being able to present both sides of views. Can anyone tell me whether we are actually live on Facebook?
We are.
Okay, cool. It says we are, but I'm not really. It doesn't go live on my iPad, and I don't know why.
Well, all I can confirm is that it looks like us.
Okay. Okay. I guess that's important. Can anyone, like Steve? Can you see the comments? Commenting.
I cannot see any comments yet. I can see Tiffany doing this.
Well,
but that was a while ago.
It was.
So now I can see me doing this. That's really weird. Okay.
There's always a lag.
I'm sorry, I have to stop doing that. That's very weird.
Yes. Okay. So there is a lag. I just want to make sure that it's usually Brad who welcomes the people when they join and comments. And so I'm just wondering who's going to do that with Brad not here. So Steve, you could do
it.
Where's the echo coming from? I hear an echo.
Okay, it could have been me, but I'll deny it.
Well, that's not really taking ownership and responsibility, is it, Steve? Okay, so let's go back.
That's also correct.
So do we want to do this where we have a pro team and a con team?
I'm pro team.
More interesting?
What are you looking for conflict here? What are you
No, I'm
trying
not
to
looking
do?
for conflict. I'm looking for meaningful discussion and the best way to achieve that. So, or do you think we'll just, start listing pros and cons? I think it might be interesting to have a pro team and a con team.
Okay.
So who'd like to be on which team?
Well, I'm
on the fence. I don't have a team. So.
Okay, so,
okay.
but So do you want to represent the pros for not having a team?
I wouldn't know. I don't have a team, so I don't even know what it's like to work with a team.
There you go. That's a fair comment.
Okay.
How about this? If you had to do it all over again and start again, would you start the same way or a different way?
Well, actually, interestingly enough, today on my Facebook memories popped up a picture of my first hire, who happened to be my sister-in-law. So it was 11 years ago to this day that I hired her.
Wow.
And that was about a year into business. And it was out of need for sure that I'd started to grow. I didn't have enough hours in a day. Didn't have much for process back then other than just knowledge dump every time she came in. And it's continued to grow from there. What I said in my comment was I actually could have never visioned what I have now back then. So it's pretty cool to look back on it and see how far it's actually came.
And for those that don't know you, how many people are on your team now?
6.
Awesome. Okay.
Awesome.
So do you want to be the pro team person?
I'm pro team, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. What about you, Tiffany? Are you pro team or are you pro solo? Because you kind of blended.
I've done both.
Which one do you feel more strongly about?
You know what? I can argue anything.
Yeah, we're aware, Tiffany. We're aware.
Hi, Matthew.
How are you?
Wherever you need me.
Speaking of arguing, somebody call me.
Yeah, you kind of entered into the conversation just at the perfect time, right?
Perfect time.
Yeah.
We're going to voluntold Matthew.
Okay, so Matthew, are you pro team or pro solo for a firm? Or a
Pro team.
Pro team, okay.
Yeah, team.
Yeah, team.
Okay, so Tiffany, you're going to be solo then.
All right, whatever. I'm easy.
What about you, Steve? Are you pro team?
I could be pro solo if you want to balance this out.
Well, we've got 2 on each right now. So I'm going to be pro team, so you can be pro solo.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. So let's start with the biggest reason that you would not have a team, or the main reason that you
Pro
would
team. How
not.
much?
That's pretty easy.
Okay.
Less drama.
True.
Okay.
Or quality. I'd say quality of workmanship.
So you think that you have stronger quality of workmanship if you're solo? Why do you say that?
I think you have better control over your quality if you're solo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Andrea's gonna hang the fence on both sides.
Well, I mean, I could argue as well. I'm
Right?
definitely
She
down.
can argue either one.
I'm pro team. I'm not saying I'm not, but that's the side of it.
Yeah, you're supposed to be pro team. You're not supposed to be
Yeah,
pro
I am
solo.
pro team. I mean, let me just be quiet here.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Less drama, less headaches.
Okay, so let's define headaches. What's a headache?
Drama.
Having to deal with the drama. Yes. It's all interrelated.
Okay, and why do you think there is more drama when you have a team?
Because people are complex individuals, and the more complex individuals you bring together, the more complexity, and complexity breeds drama.
Okay, fair enough. Any other reasons that you would never want a team? Nobody said cost. Overhead. Minimum requirement of revenue that's required.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Yeah. If you don't have excess capacity, then, I mean, if you have a lot of excess capacity, then there's really no need for a team.
Mhm.
Okay.
So if you're just starting out, and you're working 5 hours a week for one client, there's no point in having a team.
Unless, of course, you would like those 5 hours off.
But then there's the responsibility of making sure that those people who are working for you have full-time work, because then they're going to be depending on you for their wages. And then, you know, if they've got a mortgage, then, you know, you're responsible for making sure that you're making payroll and that you're able to support that. So there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, far more responsibility with the team.
And I think that for me was one of the biggest reasons that I didn't want a team to start, was just the thought of having overhead. And before, if I had a bad month, it wasn't such a big deal. Fine, I had less money. Whereas with a team, I had to pay them regardless of whether or not I had a bad month or not.
Yep.
And welcome, Heather.
Hi, Heather. Heather's muted.
We are talking back to basics on creating a team, whether or not to have a team or not to have a team. And so we have on our panel pro team people and pro solo people.
And not by choice, we've been assigned.
Exactly.
To be perfectly clear.
And then you got a few that are on the fence.
Yeah, I should say we're not necessarily on the side that we really should be. We were on the side we were sort of asked to be, or voluntold to be.
But asked very nicely.
No, absolutely. You were very polite. Yes, no doubt about that.
So Heather, do you have a preference as to which team you would like to be on? Pro team or pro solo?
I'm an absolute soloist, but I'm a team player. So you can choose.
Another one on the fence.
Okay, so we have another fence sitter. Okay.
I possibly define it differently. So I don't employ or engage people, but I have a massive number of connections around me to do what I need to do. So you can throw me where you want to throw me.
Okay, so let's throw you in the solo, because
Okay.
that's where you're coming from, but you're coming from that with a different perspective. So
I want a new category.
What do you want to know?
I want a hybrid category. There should be a hybrid category.
How can you be a solo with a team?
Outsourcing?
When I'm talking team, I'm talking about
That's still a team.
I'll answer that. I'm an absolute soloist, but I have a team of experts around me that I pull in whenever I need something particular done that I need done, but then I will look over and then push it out through my own operations. So it's taken me a long while to feel comfortable just saying, okay, I'm happy being a micro business or a solo business, but I have a team, and I consider that team to be experts across Australia and across the world that I will tap in and pull in where and when I need them, and to give me sort of what I can actually do. But what I do potentially is not process repetitive driven that sometimes compliance work may be. It may be sort of more ad hoc, moving into the needs of the client.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we've come up with some reasons not to start a team. Any others that anybody wants to throw out there is a reason not to start a team?
Could I get clarification?
Of course.
What do you mean by a team, Juliet?
Hiring employees.
So so what about subcontractors? Is that a team?
Full-time employees.
Okay, so full-time employee.
Or part-time, full-time or part-time employees.
Okay, all right.
Is my definition of a team.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. That was very helpful.
Anytime. Okay, so any other reasons not to start a team before we move on to the other side?
What did we have so far? Drama, cost,
Drama, cost. Yeah, so drama came up like 4 times, I think. but yeah,
Quality of workmanship.
quality, yeah.
Quality of work, yep.
And having to let them go, which potentially falls under drama, but
No,
having to move them on for whatever reason is difficult.
Yeah, that is probably, if you are going to hire full-time or part-time people, that is probably the most difficult thing to do.
And I don't think you ever get used to it.
No, well, you never should, right? At least I don't think you ever should. I think it should bother you each and every time.
And I think it's difficult because, you know, we're accounting professionals and it's a very different skill set for HR management. And so until you have a team that's large enough to have an HR resource person, it
Yeah.
falls on us accountants who have a very different personality than those who should be dealing with HR.
Okay, so that's
a
another
great
reason
point.
not to start a team, because well, you can argue that both ways, but we're arguing first for not to have a team. Okay, any other ones before we move on to the other?
Difficulty
Yes.
finding talent.
And could I play devil's
Finding talent,
advocate and comment on quality of work?
Sure.
Is that not a reflection of processes and systems?
I would say that it's a reflection of
Well-
the talent.
I'm just asking a question.
And that's another reason why having it.
Poor Matthew keeps going.
That's another reason why having a team can be a bad thing.
Yeah, we have a really bad connection, Matthew. You're coming in and out.
Put
So
your
we're
headset on, man.
I'll be back.
okay. 'Cause we're getting every fifth word, and I'm sure he has some great things to say, but I have no idea what they are.
He'll come back.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, often too, I would say to that, Steve, is especially when you're starting out, you become so overwhelmed in the day-to-day that you don't have time for developing processes, let alone having those in place for somebody new
Yep.
coming in.
No, and I think that's a very valid point, Andrea. I remember when we first got our coach, and I remember when we were, whining about our team and how they weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing and weren't doing it as well as they were supposed to be doing. And I can always remember him sort of looking at us and helping us to understand.
You say that so nicely.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to be. I'm not sure he was as polite to us as I'm being now, although maybe he was. He's a pretty polite guy, but making us, realize and admit that we just hadn't taken the time to put the processes and systems in place to deliver the quality of work we were looking for, and that we could not blame the team for that.
Yeah.
That we could
Okay,
whine
so-
about it, but the issue was with us, not
So is
with.
that another reason that you may not want to start a team? Because it's work. It's
Oh,
work to build all those systems and processes and the quality control pieces. Because that is a lot of work.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
And so when we are talking about processes, what are you meaning exactly? Are you meaning step by step, this is what you need to do? Or what do you?
Not only what you need to do, but how you need to do it. And one of the most difficult things, right, for people when they come into your team is, particularly if they've been doing it a different way. Hello, we have a new member of the group.
You have a mini me.
Yes, this is Roxanne.
Hello. How are you? Oh, what did you have there?
Oh,
Oh,
Okay, that's not fair. Are you going to share those? No? Okay. Well, I don't
He
blame
hid
you.
them. He hid them so you don't even know that they're there
Yeah,
anymore.
I
out
don't.
of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. Why would he share with people he doesn't even know, right?
No sharing with strangers.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sorry, Steve, you were saying about processes?
No, I think it's not just what needs doing, but how you want it done to represent the quality of work and the level of work that you want shown to your clients. I think it's very easy to have a process of how to do things, or I should say, it's very easy to have a process of what needs doing. Right? That's a pretty easy thing to follow, right? Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But sometimes it's doing step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 the way somebody else wants you to do it, not the way you want to do it. And when you're working for someone else, sorry, you got to do it the way they want it done, or you're not following the process.
But a lot of businesses don't have processes either.
Oh,
But that certainly makes it very difficult to, you know, as Andrea said, to control the quality that goes out the door.
Yep.
Or they have different training methods.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are, you know, a zillion ways that you can do anything. You know, you can do bookkeeping by journal entry.
Yep.
Right. I mean, theoretically, yeah. And
All of us are grimacing.
but you could do it, right? The numbers at the end of the day would still be right, but is that your process, right? So, so how you do it, not necessarily what you do, would be, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to build those out so that it's consistent if you have a team.
Yep. Okay.
Any other reasons not to have a team before we move on to the other
I've
side?
got a great one, which is I see actually happening all the time here in Australia, is that you train the team member up, they're working really well, and then they leave and start their own business in competition to you.
Okay. Yep. That's a fun one, isn't it?
Then you've just shared your secret sauce, you shared your processes, and it's
And they go
virtually
after the clients that you had them
that,
working with.
and then they're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is not unlike what's happened with QBO Live.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not even going to touch that one. That's a whole different topic.
Whole different topic.
Any other reasons not to start a team? So we talked about cost of payroll, but usually if you have a team, there's also other costs that are associated, whether you're providing them with equipment or you need an office space to house them in, or so there are more costs than just payroll that are associated with it.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about
Find
client
balance,
relationships?
That's a good
Do
one.
you feel like if you have a team that you're one step removed from your clients and that's not necessarily what you want to do?
I used to feel that way in the beginning.
Okay. So was that a reason not to have a team, is that you lose that connection with your client? Okay, so nobody feels that? Andrea, you said you did at the beginning. So Matthew,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we've found ways to mitigate that, but there was definitely that feeling, and how would they feel knowing someone else may be doing the work that I had been doing or had promised to deliver.
okay. So is that a completely different one, that your client expectations are that the relationship is with you? Or, you know, if you're the one doing the sales and they think they're going to be working with you and then you're handing it off to somebody else. So can that affect your client relationship?
I guess it also depends on what your business model is though, right? I mean, if you're doing commodity bookkeeping, it's really, you know, you can manage that relationship with the client, and so that they understand that there's going to be, you know, like Matthew uses outsourcing. So, I mean, his clients understand completely that that's what's happening. But if you're maybe have a business model of a boutique where you charging $4,000 and $5,000 a month to have a relationship with the client and to be working with them and their wealth management, everything, it's difficult to then say, oh, you know what, I'm going to put a bookkeeper on that instead of you having a CPA with 30 years of experience.
Okay, so what if you had another CPA on your team?
Pardon me?
What if you hired another CPA on your team?
Yeah, those are way more costly than a bookkeeper.
And we're talking teams, not necessarily just bookkeeping teams. We're
Yes.
talking teams.
You should also be billing them more, right? Billing out more if it's a CPA.
Yeah. Yeah. But when you're accustomed to be making that kind of money per month and then all of a sudden bringing somebody else in, you're like, yeah, okay, I got to find more clients.
Okay, so is that another reason not to start a team? Is you actually have to share the revenue that you're generating? That's
No.
not a reason not to start a team?
I'm on the wrong team, I think.
Just
And
join
why
Team
you're
Hybrid.
Team.
I'm finding this extremely difficult.
Hey, you said that I could put you on whichever team I wanted.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I think that to speak kind of towards what you're talking about before, in my role with our company, one of the things that has occurred for me is I am not doing as much of the daily accounting and the daily connection with some of our clients as I once was, because I'm busy doing Zoom webinars and stuff instead. Super important, right? And there definitely is an aspect of doing that it does feel there's a period of time that it's very uncomfortable, because you have to adjust to disconnecting and not being that go-to person or being that person that just jumps on and handles something. You have to delegate it. So from that aspect, I'm grateful that I have a team, because if I didn't have my team, it's sure great. We get to split the profits or the revenues and everything else. More important than that is I've got a team member that can help. We can adjust and shift things around to pick up the weight when it's needed. So we can actually expand and grow because of a team.
Right.
Okay. So that's pro team as opposed to pro solo.
Yeah, I didn't know which side you were on yet, so
Which is fine.
I'll
It's
exit my
fine.
soapbox.
We're now moving to the, if no one has any other reasons not to start a team, we're going to go the other way, and reasons to start a team.
Would you like me to repeat all that? Just kidding.
No, Matthew started us that you can scale and grow with a team. So Steve, I know that you're dying to do your definition of a business, even though you are pro solo. So do your definition of a business so that you can get it out of your.
So, okay. And I thought this was our definition of a business. Is this now my definition of a business?
Okay, our definition of a business.
Okay, thank you.
But you feel very strongly about it.
I do feel very strongly. And as I always say before I give my definition, this is our definition and not everyone's definition. But our definition of a business is a profitable enterprise that can operate without you. And so according to our definition, it cannot be a business without a team, according to our definition. It is simply a job for yourself. And I know that from firsthand experience.
Yes. Would you like to share any of that firsthand experience?
Well, just one of my previous incarnations, I had what I thought was a successful business that I found as long as I was there, it was a successful business. But when I wanted to go on vacation or take some time away, I discovered I had not created a business. I had simply created a job for myself, and the business did not operate as it should have when I wasn't there, which was completely on me, right? I hadn't developed systems, processes, hadn't developed the right team, but I just fooled myself and thought I had for a number of years.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Go ahead, Matthew.
Can I ask a question on that though? Does that mean when you're just getting your, I'm going to use the word company started, and it does require you that it's not a business?
In my definition or our definition?
Yep.
At the beginning, probably not.
What would you call it then?
It is a job that you have created for yourself because you didn't want to work for someone else and have someone else pay you to do that job. And if your vision is to build a business and build something bigger than yourself or something more than yourself, then your vision is to build a business. But the day you open it, it is not. It may be legally, but just by our definition. And again, I keep emphasizing this is our definition. We're not trying to offend anyone here. This is our definition of a business, and it is that definition that drives everything we do with our business.
How about it's a definition of a successful business? No?
You're not going to get him to change his definition.
No.
Okay, so before we go any further.
Oh, and I can't change it, Matthew, because there's lots of times we haven't been successful, but I still thought we had a business.
Thank you.
So before we move on and continue this conversation, I do have to give a shout out because my dad is just joined. I don't know if you saw that, Steve. So my dad is watching. So hey, Dad.
How do you know that?
Because it shows me. It says Paul Aurora joined. So Dad is watching. So hey, Dad.
Hey, Dad. But it shows for you. It doesn't show for me. So I'm not sure how I would know.
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, so back to our topic. I just thought that was really cool, so I thought I would share it. Okay, so reasons to start a team. So one was Steve's definition of a team. Matthew, you said scaling, and I really condensed all of your statements into one word. Any other reasons to create a team?
I think I love scaling. I think that's a big reason for it, but leverage.
Leverage, yeah.
And what if people don't want to scale? I think the assumption is that once you have started a team, that everyone wants to keep growing that team. And that's not necessarily true. Sometimes, you want 3 people and that's all you want. So scaling to a point is possible, as well as scaling to whatever size you want.
I mean, you should scale it to the point where you're comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And where your team is comfortable too. I will say that my teammates have said to me at certain times, like, okay, it's time to cap off the new clientele and let's get back to, yeah.
And okay, so that's an interesting point. When you have team members, do you let them dictate where you want to take your business?
Dictate is a very strong word there, Julia.
Thanks for joining us, Heather. Okay, so not dictate. So, all right. I don't know what another word is to soften.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. I think to have a team and a culture that I'm trying to create is one where we all have shared opinions that we can bring forward, and I want people to be comfortable and not overwhelmed. So if we're at a point that we agree that we're not hiring anymore, I think it's fair for someone to say, okay, I'm at capacity and we need to work on whether that's shifting things around or just changing. Sometimes it's a change of clientele, like, okay, then maybe we need to look at some of the ones that are taking up time and then go from there.
Okay, so you've made the decision, or in your scenario, you've made the decision not to hire anybody else, and your team is giving you feedback that, hey, we can't take on any more clients unless you're willing to hire someone. Okay, so that's different than as opposed to what I thought you meant, which is your team has said, we don't want to hire anybody else. We want to stay, the size that we are. And so that's different.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you also, you want to build a culture where your team feels they can voice their opinion.
Yeah,
right? That's
important.
You want them to be able to, share whatever they're feeling, thinking. But the bottom line is, it is still your business. The buck still stops with you. You are still responsible for them, right? And making sure they have a paycheck and a job.
Yeah.
So you still have to make the final decision as to what you think is right for your business.
Yes.
Okay. So other reasons to start a team then. So leverage, I don't think we really expanded on that, Steve. Even though you're pro solo, what is leverage?
Making money when you're not working.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And taking vacation, and the business still runs and the clients are looked after. And I think that was a big one for us.
Yeah.
That we hadn't taken, you know, a disconnected vacation in I don't know how long, and you burn out.
Mhm. Absolutely. And actually, mine was tested recently too, where I had something come up health-wise, and I couldn't come to work, and it was actually longer than I would have taken vacation for too. So it was a test that we didn't necessarily plan for, but turns out that business can operate as usual, and that was nice to know.
Excellent. Excellent. And that's why you go through all the stuff that you go through, and you spend the time and the energy to create the systems and the processes and develop the culture so that they can pick up when is needed.
Yeah, and that
Other
is,
reasons to have a team.
that's an awesome feeling too, right? As a business owner,
Absolutely.
you know, you're in a situation you didn't necessarily want to be in, and one of the things you don't have to worry about is your business and your clients.
Yeah, absolutely. I think another reason to start a team would be when you're at capacity. There just aren't enough hours in the day for the workload that you have.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So to alleviate some of your workload. Yeah, absolutely. What about bringing on a team to expand the capabilities and services that you offer? So if your specialty is this niche and you want to expand into another niche, that you build a team that can do that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Or maybe attributes or characteristics that your existing team doesn't have, not necessarily a skill set, but you know, maybe you're looking for some characteristics that you want to bring in.
Okay, so characteristics or skill set, either one. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. Any other reasons to create a team? So Jacqueline, from your perspective as a solo, what do you wish that you could do if you had a team member? Let's look at it from a different perspective for you.
Had a team member like Andrea said, that I wouldn't have to worry so much about if health matters rise up, or if I want to go on vacation. Right now I'm juggling vacation around government remittances. And a few years ago I was in the hospital for 3 weeks. I had to kind of find someone to take up that slack that I couldn't get to do what needed to be done. Yeah. I think that was the worst part. And I am seriously thinking of starting a team because I'm getting to capacity now. Like Andrea says, you only can do so much every day. And I'm kind of looking forward to it. That's why I watched your webinar this afternoon.
Okay, very cool. Yep. So Matthew, your comment, you have no sick days when you're solo. Well, you do have sick days because you have to have them, because if you get sick, you get sick. Mm-hmm. But the work doesn't keep moving, and it means that when you come back, you just have more work that you have to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is the challenge, right? That when you're solo and you get sick, do you have a higher stress level because you're thinking about, you know, what you got to do to make yourself get well, but you're also going to be thinking about the work that's waiting for you that isn't getting done while you're sick.
Yeah, absolutely.
Another, from a personal standpoint too, you've seen my little guy, Roxanne. There's actually almost 10 years between my oldest and my youngest. And part of that was, you know, in between in that building business and not having a maternity to fall back on as a business owner. So getting it to a point where I could take some time off and enjoy being a mom too was part of it for me.
No, absolutely. That's tough. It's tough to balance it all.
Mhm.
You hear all these, and I still remember. I mean, I have some family members who shall remain nameless, who have always worked for someone else, and who
None of them are on this webinar.
none of them. But it's now in a public forum. But who've worked for companies where there's benefits and there's pension and all of that stuff. Or their government. And don't understand what the risk is that we as entrepreneurs have on the table. Have this perception, that we have all these deductions, that we can write everything off, and we have all these advantages because we're business owners.
Wait a sec. We have deductions?
Yeah, I worry about that stuff, not you.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that. Okay.
But not realizing, how much is on the line. Like, we don't get EI. You don't get sick leave. You don't get paid vacation. You don't get a
pension plan. You don't get a pension plan.
And if you have benefits, well, you're paying for them, and then you get benefits.
Business isn't structured right, Steve, if you don't have a pension plan. That would be a sign of a successful business as opposed to a not business.
Okay, so I have a lag. I'm not supposed to have lags. I fixed all my stuff.
Apparently you didn't.
I really don't want a new computer. Okay, all right. So any other reasons to start a team? Well, there seem to be more reasons not to start a team than there are to start a team.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in many ways, not starting a team is easier.
Okay.
Right? Less decisions.
Change is hard.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Any other reasons that you would want to start a team? What other benefits are there to having a team? What about collaboration?
Yeah.
I mean, when I started, there were no Facebook groups.
Yeah.
It's, the landscape has certainly changed, that now even as a solo, you have resources and people to talk to. But what about collaboration? You get stuck on something and you don't necessarily want to throw it out into a public forum for a particular client.
Yeah. And connection, having somebody on the same vision and in the same business to connect with regularly.
Okay. What about delegation of duties? When you're a solo, you do everything. You do the sales, you do the marketing, you do the work, you do the delivery. What about being able to,
supplies, right? You order the office.
you empty out the garbage can and you do all of it. So when you have a team, you have the ability to delegate some of it and maybe focus on what your strengths are. So if your strengths are building client relationships, then that's what you're doing and you're spending your time doing. And your team is doing the rest of the stuff or stuff that you don't like to do.
Yeah.
Right. So an argument for a team is to get rid of the crap that you don't like to do.
Yeah.
Well, I really wouldn't word it that way. It would be to focus on your strengths.
That's good management, Tiffany.
That would not be it would not be communicated, but it would be definitely what it would be.
But you know what the interesting thing is that when we were looking to hire a team member, so I went through this exercise of writing down on a sheet of paper everything that I was doing in a given day. So if I was doing, client calls, I would write it down. If I was doing a bank rec, I would write it down. If I was doing a sales call, I would write it down. And beside everything that I did, I rated out of 10 how I felt as I was doing it. And what I found, what I thought was interesting, was when we decided to start trying to find somebody else, we looked for the things that I didn't enjoy doing and tried to find somebody that actually enjoyed doing those things. So you're not necessarily getting rid of the crap on your desk. You're getting rid of the things that you don't enjoy, but that somebody else does enjoy.
Yep.
Because there are people that love to do the things that we don't. It's what makes the world go round.
Yep. One person's garbage is another person's treasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Any other reasons to join or to create a team? What about succession planning? What happens to, when you want to retire? So if you're solo, do you just close up shop?
No, you sell.
You sell your client list.
Yep.
But how successful will that sale be unless your clients also have some kind of relationship with who you're selling to?
Yeah, that's why it's managed when you're selling.
So
it happens
as
all the time. It's been happening for years.
Okay, so can you walk me through what that would look like if you're
So in a
for our
traditional
audience, if
CPA
you're
firm,
solo?
what will typically happen is usually you'll go on. So it won't be just a solopreneur. It will be somebody you're working with that person, or you've made an arrangement where I'm going to be selling off my book of clients. Let's work together and do the transition. It's generally at least a year, just so that there's the transition of the ownership. And then the other person, the one who's selling, will then kind of take a back seat to the other person, and then that continues. But oftentimes it's a team involved in it.
Right.
Okay, so if you're solo, it's a longer transition time?
I find that most successful, from my experience with CPA firms, that the most successful sale is at least a year.
Okay.
If not more. I know that like Deloitte, when they'll buy a practice, they're requiring at least 3 years.
Wow.
Okay.
I think another part of it too, besides succession planning, would be job creation. I really like the thought of creating jobs in my community for people.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So it's interesting that resides on both sides of the equation. Reasons to not start a team and reasons to start a team. The responsibility of creating or being responsible for the livelihoods of other people was terrifying for me. But knowing that, we're putting jobs in our neighborhood is awesome. So yeah, it's interesting that it is, double-sided, and it shows up on both sides of the equation.
I think most of these factors actually are.
So then does it come back to, taking a step back, and what do you want your business model to look like?
Yeah.
That it's not, right or wrong for anybody, whether you have a team or you don't have a team. No one has the right to say, well, no, hey, you have to have a team. I think part of the reason we all went into business for ourselves was so that we were making the decisions, and the choices were ours to make.
Yeah. Although there is a little bit of shaming that goes on from people who do have more than a solopreneur, in shaming those who choose to have a solopreneur business.
Do you think so?
Absolutely. Well, exactly what Steve said, that it's not a real business unless you have a team. So that, in my mind, is honestly, it's a bit of a shame. It's a bit of a shaming culture. But...
paper towel.
And I don't mean any, negative anything about it, Steve, but it is. It's for those who have chosen to have the solopreneur, for somebody to say that you're not a real business until you have employees.
Yeah, and I disagree with you, Tiffany, because that's not what I said. I said that was
by your definition.
I said our definition, and made it very clear that I don't say it to offend anybody.
No, and I don't know, I am just saying that there is a bit of that out there in the industry, and I'm sure, Jacqueline, you can kind of say to that as well. And then I only just gave that as an example, not saying that you intended for that to be, but that is not an unusual response.
The terminology gig economy speaks to that fact.
Yes.
So, I mean, that honestly, I've always found it interesting that so many accountants, bookkeepers, solopreneurs we're always talking about helping these small business owners, but it seems like so often it's forgotten. They're small business owners too. We're small business owners too.
Yeah.
So we are going through the same journey, the same struggle as the people that we assist quite often. But for some reason, there's that whole concept of the gig economy, that it's a side hustle. It's a temporary thing. It's starting to become more accepted, but indirectly. I don't think we're quite there yet. So I can understand what you're trying to say there.
When did we change the terminology from getting a second job to a gig economy?
When they start getting more taxes off of it, probably.
I mean, I'm not trying to be a smart ass, because I've heard the term lots of times, gig economy. I don't understand the difference between a gig economy and somebody getting a second job to try to get ahead or to try to do something different, but it wasn't, I guess we hadn't thought up the term then.
I think the gig economy, the transition to the terminology of gig economy definitely came into play because of like sites of like Upwork, Fiverr, so forth, but also like Lyft, Uber.
Yeah.
It's so because they don't consider it a second job, I guess, because it can be done in your part-time or in your otherwise free time. Hey, I'm just going to sit here and watch TV. I might as well do some driving on Uber instead, right? So I think that introduced it possibly.
And do you find that that has carried over in our industry though? Because I don't think that there are a lot of people in our industry who do it, as a side hustle, unless you're looking to do it full time. Like you do it part time with the intention, of getting enough clients to be able to do it full time. Do you see in the industry that there's a lot of people who do it and just continue to do it part time all the time?
I don't think we see it as often in the circles or spheres that we traditionally all run in, because that's not the people that we generally interact with completely. But I think that, again, if you go to Upwork or go to Fiverr or Freelancer,
Or
those
QBO
are examples.
Live.
Oh, I'm sorry?
Or QBO Live.
So QBO,
Those people are all
QBO Live
They're all part-timers.
Yeah.
They're all part-timers, but aren't they trying to get people who don't have enough clients on their own and, to try and help them establish themselves, as opposed to, you think it's someone that they just want that's part-time? And
I don't think it's being done out of the good-heartedness of the corporation. No. I feel that, I think that if somebody is wise with it, what you're saying is great.
Yeah.
We have to recognize.
Except they have intentionally not only stated, but they have structured it in such a way that there is no opportunity for that person who has chosen that route to get any clients from that route.
Correct.
So if you're doing that job, you still have to try and build your own business on the side. They are very particular about you not stealing their client base. Lots of security measures in place.
Fair. Yeah, which is fair.
Yeah,
I would think.
Is it not just a corporation being a corporation?
Yeah. I mean, I do think that's fair. I mean, all of us would do the same thing.
Right. It's a public corporation trying to increase their shareholder value. Yeah. I'm not saying we should like it or agree with it or anything else, but it just seems to me like a natural evolution of a public corporation.
So when this becomes QuickBooks Live A, I'm going to ask you these questions again.
Well, it's coming to Canada. We've been told it's coming to Canada. We just don't know when.
We're not worried about it personally, but in the context of what we're talking about, I mean, it was actually a good example, because people are limited to, they cannot work more than 30 hours. That's the maximum. So it's always considered part-time. And from what I recently heard, like I haven't validated this. I need to announce that first, that there are expectations that they would be available to answer the phone through specific given periods of time, albeit they wouldn't actually be working during that period of time. And I thought there was I thought that's not legal in the United States anymore. Like you can't just be on call and not get paid for being on call. But I don't know. I'd have to look into it more.
I think in Canada you can't. I don't know what it's like in the US.
California's weird. We do strange stuff.
You're
Okay.
even more strict
All
in
right.
Canada.
So if we go back to our team versus no team, we've got about 5 minutes left, and I'm not sure, you know, and as we said that we've come up with a definitive yes, you need a team, or no, you don't need a team. Anything else that we've missed covering, either as a reason to have a team or a reason not to have a team, for anyone that could be considering starting a team that we may have missed?
It's also a fluid decision for some people. I mean, I know some pro advisors who started out as solo, they grew a team, realized that wasn't the model that they wanted anymore, and then they've scaled it back.
Yeah.
So again, it's not that when you're looking at this, that it's like, I've made this decision and I have to keep on going full throttle. It's a fluid decision based on your needs.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Absolutely.
personal decision, right?
That's
I mean, it's,
that's a
I
great,
really do think it comes down also a lot to personal comfort level, right? Like you just said, Tiffany, you scale up and then you obviously reach a point where, okay, yeah, this isn't what I thought it was going to be.
It's
So
more
I
than
need
what
to-
I was by myself.
Yeah, you know, I need to change it. And that's, I mean, that's what it all comes down to, I think. I mean, the reason we're self-employed is freedom and choice. And we want, or we all aim to feel good about what we're doing, and what makes one person feel good can be completely different than what makes someone else feel good.
absolutely. And do you find that as you have a team, or as you've created a team, that sometimes, you know, as Steve said, that, you know, we've gone into business for ourselves for freedom of choice, that when you're solo, you can pivot very quickly because it's just you. And you can say, well, I want to go this way, or I'd like to try this. And if it doesn't work, then you pivot again. And that there is less flexibility of being able to do that when you have a team, because you have to pay all their salaries and you pay the overhead. So you have less flexibility in trying something new, unless you can maintain the status quo to be able to cover everything else.
Yeah, that would be the other side of it, where maybe you can afford to be a bit more flexible because you have a team that's covering your bases as it exists.
Yeah,
But
so
it's also like, I know, Juliet, I remember you saying that you've gone to like scaling and other conferences and you've been super excited about stuff. And then you're like coming back and telling the team, this is what we're implementing. It's like, oh, I need to consider what they're actually thinking about this and how to manage this change.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Whereas on your own, you're just like, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh no, I got to consider. Yeah,
If
it's a bigger ship that I'm steering now instead of just like little spinning top.
No, good point. Good point. Absolutely.
If you're going to have a team, you need to have quorum, is what I'm hearing.
Well,
Do you?
Yeah, let's make it more complex.
Do you need to have quorum, or do you just have to be able to get them as excited as you are about what you've learned?
Yeah.
And get their buy-in, that you don't necessarily need their agreement that this is the direction your business is going, but you need to get them on board.
Mhm. You need to be an excellent manager of change.
Yes. So that's a different, so is it also with having a team, it's a completely different skill set that you need to grow and expand.
Yes, no, absolutely.
And that can be a bad thing or a good thing, depending on who you are as a person. Okay, so a great conversation. I love the pros and the cons. You guys did an awesome job. We're just about 9 o'clock, and we always like to try and finish on time and respect everyone's opinion. Any parting thoughts? Team versus no team, any last points that anyone wants to throw in there? Nope. Okay. But I thought that we did a great job on presenting the points of view from both sides. and giving some people some things to think about if they, and I love the confetti, Matthew. Celebrating the end of Wine and Whiskey Wednesday, and being able to, you know, provide some things for people to think about before they join, decide to create a team, or before they decide to stay solo. So excellent. Thank you all very much for another fabulous conversation for Wine and Whiskey Wednesdays. It is 9 o'clock. So cheers, everyone. Have a fabulous week, and we will see you next week.
Thank you for joining us.
Bye, everyone.
See you later.
Bye.